I'm Gerald Bentley. This is LVWS Confidential. Today we are joined by, in a true sense of the word, a generational talent. He's the first of his generation to be appearing in main event matches. Bodhi Young Prodigy joins us here, steps
Yo,
into
yo,
the
yo.
LVWS ring. Bodhi, thanks a lot
Yo.
for joining us.
No worries, no worries.
Yeah, hey, the biggest question I wanted to ask you is, you're here now at, is it 15 years old?
I'm turning 16 on May 8th, so we're
Okay,
getting close.
getting close to 16. To find comparables to you in the sports world, we need to look at tennis, at soccer, at gymnastics. Do you stop and think, hey, wait a minute, I'm a teenager and I'm competing against high level seasoned professionals, main event professionals.
Sometimes it's really weird. I do stop and think that I'm doing what I'm doing at the age I'm at. I think I've just been doing it for some amount of time that I'm getting like used to it. So
Yeah.
sometimes things happen. I'm not surprised.
Now, when most of the wrestlers you talk to, it's, hey, tell me about how you got involved, and you're
Mhm.
going back 10, 12 years and talking about watching wrestling with their parents or their grandparents. Your story obviously doesn't go back as far, but how did you get involved in wrestling? Where did we start
So
to
I
get to this
remember
point?
this like dates back to elementary school, and I saw a kid with a WWE backpack, and I'm a bit confused. Like, why are these guys shirtless, tattoos, like, on this guy's backpack? I eventually see it on YouTube, I'm watching it, I'm kinda confused, you know? I'm like, "Why is this guy hitting another guy?" But eventually I start watching it more and more, and I'm getting entertained and all that, and we have a family friend who was doing kids classes at FSW, and he
Okay.
found out that I was watching wrestling, and he invited me to, I think it was No Escape 2015, and I went to the kids class the next week, and now we're here. I was 8.
So you would have been what, 8, 9 years old
Yeah,
then?
I was 8.
Wow. So when did you actually start wrestling? When did you start actually doing moves?
So, kids class training was a bit weird. I was learning, but it was in, like, a safe environment. It was so we could
Sure.
do it and be safe at because 'cause we're still developing. I had my first match, when I was 9. That was at, like, a student showcase. I was training up to then.
And that really doesn't happen. I mean, it's probably more so now, but that doesn't really happen in other places in America. I know I've heard Tony Storm and Jamie Hayter talking about wrestling when they were 8 and 9, and in Australia, New Zealand, and in the UK it happens, but America really, I think FSW is one of the few that does it.
I got very lucky.
Yeah, so who were the main trainers for you?
So in the kids class, I was training with Leon Hayter, and maybe about 4 or 5 years after training in the kids class, doing a couple showcases, I was ready to move up to the adult class. And over there, I was training with guys like Cutthroat Cody Croft, Sin Bodhi, Kenny King, TJ
Mhm.
Perkins was around a couple times, Remy Marcel back then, now Greg Sharp, whole list.
Yeah. So who's been when you look at your wrestling, your move sets, who's been the most influential to you?
Hmm.
Or what wrestler, is there a wrestler that you've watched and say, "Hey, I like those moves. I'm gonna try to incorporate some of those."
I mean, when I watch wrestling, I'm very interested in watching, of course, Rey Mysterio, very big inspiration.
Mhm.
When it comes to my trainers, I think they each have something like different to offer because not all of them are going to be doing flashy moves, but
Sure.
they can help me and my entrances, selling, strikes, all of that. So I think it's a pretty good combination.
Yeah, you do have guys with different styles too, because you're gonna get
Mhm.
something. You can get the aerial, you can get the acrobatic moves from TJP. He may be
Right.
the best all around. I mean, he's in the argument for being
Yeah.
the best all around wrestler today and for the last few years. Sin obviously is more of the personality and also
Mhm.
a hard hitting, uh, brawling style, but a star.
Very, yes.
by anyone's definition in his own right. And then Remy, Cody, Kenny, very good, very versatile wrestlers. And you've seen what G Sharp has done. He's
Mhm.
just getting done with the South American tour this week.
I saw that. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, so definitely a wide variety. Now, I became familiar with you in watching you in 3-man matches with
Mhm.
Mondo Rocks and Robbie Litt and Sky High.
Junior pilot.
Well, yeah, what was it like working with those guys?
It was pretty fun because there was times where I wasn't doing shows, I was still training, but I had always watched the shows and I'd always see Sky High and I'm just like, I'm doing along with them, I'm doing this. It's
Yeah,
pretty cool that now that I'm doing shows on a consistent basis, I can team with the guys that I was watching. I can wrestle the guys that I was watching when I was still like younger.
yeah. And now, what is a what's a day like for you? Because I know what my high school days were like, and I was a high school wrestler, and I know the time that that took up. But I can only imagine what your schedules are like.
On my average day, I'd wake up, go to school, get home, take the dogs on a walk, but do homework, and around 5 or 6, depending on the day, I'd go train, get home, go to bed, sleep, repeat
And then, how often are you getting into matches now on a monthly basis? How many
on a monthly
events
basis.
are you doing?
I think it would be maybe a match every 2 weeks, I think,
Okay.
or a match a week, or I multiple matches in a month, though.
Yeah, so still kind of metering it up,
Mhm.
not
That's,
pushing
not
yourself
traveling.
to a crazy amount.
Mhm.
What do your parents think of or your even heck your friends of being a professional wrestler?
Thoughts?
Hi there, how you doing?
I I love
Uh,
that he's following his dream. I mean, literally, he was 8 years old. I took him to class and he's never left.
yeah,
It's just I'm a huge supporter. Um yeah, no, anything. I love that he's doing what he loves to do. I mean, he literally lights up in the ring.
yeah, you can definitely see it. You can see that connection and the drive, and for every person that achieves success, there is a family. There's a support system behind that's, in this case, both figuratively and literally, that are giving you the opportunity to make it. That's got to be important to you. You
Very,
got to
yes.
really feel that.
I'm glad that I have, the support system, the momager, because I don't think I'd be where I would be if I didn't have their advice and them always in my ear saying, "You have to do this, you have to tell them this, you gotta do this," and I think it's benefited me a lot.
So no exploding barbed wire death matches until at least 18,
Not
right?
anytime soon.
Got to draw the line there somewhere.
Yeah.
So achieved a great deal before even driving.
Mhm.
What's coming up in the year ahead? What are your goals for the next year?
Mm. If we're talking about FSW, I think I've made a pretty good case to be the next person after Jacob Austin Young to step up to Danny Limelight. I'm gonna
Okay.
say it here. If Jacob Austin Young doesn't take the title, I think I made a pretty decent case to being up in line, especially with my first ever MECCA victory, that being my MECCA debut
Hmm.
against Jacob Austin Young, who I unfortunately had to pin. Matches with Chris Bay, Sonico, Alan Angels, recently Damian Drake. I think I have a good foundation to be a candidate.
Sure.
And
And it's a great goal to go for.
mhm. And if we're not talking about FSW, I think goals for the next year is
Oh yeah,
just
just in general.
expand the BYP brand because I think we're doing a lot of big things right now, but I think we can always go bigger because I am 15. I'm doing this, I'm
Hmm.
actually doing this. So I think there's more windows and doors and opportunities that I could go through.
Oh, absolutely. Especially with the simple fact that you can fire up a computer and do a talk show or
Mhm.
do a video from wherever. Now, can people follow you on the social medias? Are there?
Yep, yep.
Yeah.
Uh, on Instagram, we got Bodhi_BYP. Same
Okay.
thing that goes for Twitter, Facebook, Bodhi Chalfin. Hmm. Okay, yeah, I almost forgot. I do have a website that also keeps you updated with what I'm doing in my career right now, and
Okay.
that's BodhiYoungProdigy.com.
Okay. Awesome. Not a lot of teenagers have their own website, so
Yeah,
that's a good step. Now, besides Rey Mysterio, who's a great example,
very.
who are some of the other pro wrestlers that have been influential to you from WWE, AEW, Impact, New
Mhm.
Japan?
Starting from Impact, Chris Bay has been very influential. I'm lucky that I just wrestled him. That was like a check off my bucket list.
Sure.
I've known him since I started. He's known me since he started. And I think we've just been really close ever since. He was helping me with one of my, I think it was my second match ever. He was helping me train for that one. Damian Drake refed my first ever match, and I'm lucky that I wrestled him. Cody, I haven't had a one-on-one Cody match yet, but I want to have a Cody match.
Okay. Yeah. No, excellent. And Chris Bay, great example too, because came out of FSW. Now he's a member of Bullet Club, Impact Tag Team Champion, and the current MECCA Grand Champion, I believe. Right
Yeah.
now, what do you get from wrestling against Chris? Because he's a person that can do literally any move
hmm
in the
I think it was,
repertoire.
I was having a lot of fun in the ring because given me and Chris's history, I was having fun, but also me wrestling Chris is not an easy task. So I think every time he would hit me down, I think I was obligated to try and get back up. I think that's just what I had to do, and I think that he could see that I was determined to make my shot worth it.
Sure. Now, after a match like that, will you go back and basically break down the film, watch the moves, and
Mhm.
see how the connections went, see how the move sets went together on video to go ahead and use that to incorporate into matches down the road?
About every match that I've had, I think I've watched it over a minimum 5 times, and that could be in the next, like, day or 2, because
Okay.
I think we're our biggest enemy, and after watching the match back with Chris, I know what I could have done better. I know what I could have done worse. There's things that I'm proud of, things that I'm not, and I think, especially wrestling Chris, I know that he's gonna help me change those things so I don't make the same
Yeah.
mistake or I feel better about myself because I'm always my biggest critic.
Well, and it's important to scout and make sure, right? Because practice, practice and repetition without it being right
Mhm.
doesn't really help any. It's just practice, and maybe you're continuing to do the wrong things.
Yeah.
Who haven't you, besides Cody? Who are some of the people that you want to get in there and have matches with that you
I
haven't
think
been able to yet?
most of the people that I want to wrestle, I've wrestled them, but it's been in like some kind of scramble or tag team match to where I get to maybe hit him with a drop kick or whatever, but
Yeah.
that I haven't been able to meet for more than 2 minutes. That being guys like Gringo Loco, and in AEW weekend, I get to wrestle Jordan Oliver. So that's pretty cool.
Hmm.
Guys like Joey Janela, Leo Rush. I think guys that I can not see myself in, but guys when I watch them, I'm off my seat. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I'm always enjoying watching wrestling, and if guys can connect with me, if guys can make me feel like a fan again, then I want to be able to feel the connection in the ring with them.
Well, Leo Rush,
Yes.
that would be a tremendous matchup because in terms of stringing together moves. I don't think
Mhm.
anybody can do it faster than he can right now
No
in the
one.
sport. That'd be a great matchup. And
Mhm.
I know on Memorial Day weekend, you're going to be involved in the show we were just talking to Joey DeFalco about last week.
Go for
Second
broke
generation pro wrestling, go for broke on Sunday, May 28th at the FSW Arena.
on Fight
You're
Plus.
you're going to be part of that show.
Yeah.
What does that mean? Because I mean, I know he's talking about changing it to new generation or next
Mhm.
generation, which would obviously be a perfect fit for you. How does it feel to be involved in starting up another promotion?
I think not just me, but maybe the whole roster for New Generation Pro. I think that's very fitting because us and many other guys are gonna lead wrestling to the new generation, and I think that's pretty cool. And I was talking with Joey a bunch about possible opponents, guys I'm gonna see at the show that I might not wrestle, and he's getting me excited about it because I've heard some names. Maybe I'm not. We're on the confidential here,
Hmm.
so I think we're just gonna have to see and find out because the show's gonna be great. It is.
Yeah, and you can tell his excitement level of it
Mhm.
is unmatched, and he's been around a lot of wrestling, and for him to be super excited, that means it's going to be something special.
Yeah.
And that's got to be a special weekend just to be involved because that weekend, even though Las Vegas is the combat sports capital of the world, it's going to be the center of the pro wrestling world that week. You're getting a series of independent shows just like WrestleMania
Right.
week where GCW is coming in and basically camping out in Las Vegas for the week.
Mhm.
And just about every promotion in the area is going to have a show, and you're going to be involved in one on the Saturday as well.
Mhm.
Legends Rise.
I think that's pretty cool. The best wrestlers under 25 on May 25th.
Hmm.
That's great because there's some guys that I didn't realize that were older, younger than 25, but the
Yeah.
talent list on that show is crazy, especially in tournament style matches. If I'm lucky enough, I can face more than one of these guys on the tournament.
So it's going to be at that show is going to be in the spirit then of like the New Japan Super J Cup.
Right. One
Well,
night, I
that's
believe.
really interesting.
Very.
And gonna be going after is it what, the Future Legends title, or there's gonna be a
Mhm.
trophy cup?
I think it's a title. I was seeing some pictures. Nice big red title, silver plates. Looks pretty cool. Like
Yeah,
really going my waist.
that is neat, and, you know, something that could be just a couple of years down the road here 'cause, 16's coming up soon. One of the other people that's gonna be on Go for Broke, just have now gotta wait a little bit more, but is going to be officially signed by All Elite Wrestling.
Very
According
cool.
to Tony Schiavone, who should know, Billie Starkz, she's going to be on the Go for Broke card.
Mhm.
Not quite 18, but she's going to be in one of the two big promotions nationally. Have you had a chance to talk with her at all and just kind of
Uh,
talk about her experiences?
Luckily, I wrestled her in a mixed 8-man tag match when Revolver
Okay.
came bat with Vegas, and I had a nice talk with Billy, and I'm very happy how she's going. She just wrestled Jade Cargill for the TBS championship.
Hmm.
I'm just very impressed and someone that I look up to because I eventually want to be at the same level of success, especially with the GCW. I want to basically follow in her footsteps.
Yeah, there's not many contemporaries, right? There's her and
Mhm.
there's Nick Wayne, who's
Right.
basically following that same path and
Mhm.
already has a contract. It's just a matter of waiting until he's 18 years old.
July.
Is that is that the not long-term goal, really kind of the medium-term goal?
To sign, or are we talking about companies here?
To sign, to, follow the path of Billy Starks and, Nick Wayne and be the 18-year-old, being the one and done or the, straight from, high school. You could be the LeBron or Kobe of, pro wrestling. Not to put any pressure on
Getting
you.
into the draft. Yes, I think with the way my career is going and the progression level, I think I want to be set. You know what I mean? By the time I'm 18, no matter what company it is, I hope that I've made a big enough impact to where I am able to follow in the path of Nick Wayne and Billy Starkz. So whether it's AEW or not, I just hope that I've done my job for the past couple of years on the independent scene. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And like you mentioned earlier, with FSW being there, and then all of the other wrestling that's involved in Las Vegas. I mean, our website's Las Vegas Wrestling Scene, and
Mhm.
unlike a lot of cities in Las Vegas, there really is a wrestling scene. I mean, you have multiple promotions with talented rosters, with unique styles that are promoting shows on a weekly, multiple times a month basis. That just doesn't happen hardly anywhere in the country. Maybe LA, maybe New York, but besides that, that's about it.
Yeah, there's a lot of FS or not FSW, but Vegas territories, and I'm glad that I've worked every Vegas company that does shows on a consistent basis. I think that's pretty cool that I kind of locked down Vegas as like
Hmm.
the home base, and I can go to these other states saying, "Hey, in Vegas, I've done this. I'm ready to expand."
Yeah, and it really has to, not just your own, but any of the wrestlers in Las Vegas, the ability to do, essentially to do a circuit in the city all at a high level between FSW, Dark Arts, Grab House, Versus, Big Valley, Pride Style. There's just so many different outlets, and all performing at a high level and really a consistent basis. It's just a great opportunity
Mhm. And
that
they all have something different to
you just
offer,
don't get elsewhere.
right?
So Memorial Day weekend going to be a big weekend,
Mhm.
and then obviously 16th birthday coming up.
Yep.
What are we going to be looking out for the rest of the year? I guess the eyes are kind of set on Danny Limelight,
Mhm.
which is more than reasonable. What
Yep.
are some other what are some other goals that you want to check off this year?
This year. Hmm. Uh, I was listing some of those opponents that I would want to be in the ring with. I hope that I could face some of them this year.
Hmm.
And I've been talking to some companies. I mean, some companies need a wrestling license, so I got to be 18. But I've
Okay.
been in talks with other companies about going out of state, and I'll still, Vegas is the home, but I want to see where I can go in the year so I can say this was my 2023. This is why I am, because wrestling is very competitive, trying to take each other's spots. So I want to have my 2023 down and say, here's what I've accomplished. Here's why I beat out the rest.
Okay. Okay. Just a couple more questions, and we're kind of wind it down. What would you say is the hardest part of pro wrestling that people don't realize? People just watching, they don't realize that, hey, that's really hard.
That's a tough one. I think for people that haven't been in the ring, I think some people don't understand that this could really take a toll on your body. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
That's why you have to keep stretching, though. That's one of the solutions. But to people that watch it and aren't in the ring, because I'll be talking with some of the kids at school, and they'll be like, "Oh, that stuff you do is fake. You guys aren't even hitting each other." And then I'm coming to school with like bruises or
Uh-huh.
separating my shoulder one time. My head hurts, headaches, and but just as a wrestler, that's tough. I think it's a mental game because, like I was saying, we're our biggest enemies,
Yeah.
and I think the toughest part for me is just making sure that I'm paving my own way and I'm not letting any roadblocks or things get in my way.
So if somebody says that that stuff's fake, have you ever asked them to come down and volunteer to take the 10 chops in the corner? Because the
I
chops don't
scheduled it
feel
on
good.
him. If someone starts, telling me that it's fake and all, I try to show them videos. I'm like, hey, just so you know, it might look fake. We're keeping each other safe, but there are possibilities that things could go wrong. I like going back to the examples of last year when I separated my shoulder. I'm like, you know what I mean? The ring isn't the ring isn't a cloud. It's a metal bar, wood, beams, and maybe an inch layer of padding, and that's all we
Hmm.
have. It's very dangerous, but that's what
Yeah,
gives me the thrill.
I don't think people realize that the ring's not even as padded as an amateur wrestling mat.
Yeah.
It's pretty stiff.
Yeah. Yep.
Well, here, we'll go ahead and go to the championship round here. Got the
Okay.
LVWS confidential title. You get to be the champion this week. Just a
Okay.
few
Cool.
quick
Cool. Cool.
questions. On the national tours, excluding people you've wrestled, who is the most impressive wrestler to you?
That I haven't wrestled.
Somebody you haven't wrestled.
Most impressive wrestler.
Or let
Ooh.
me ask you this: impressive wrestler in terms of promos, and impressive wrestler in terms of moves. Could be the same person, could be different people.
I know this is the speed round, but these are getting tough. Okay. Um, I wrestled him in December 2021, but it's been a minute since I have. But
Sure.
G Sharp, I think all
Okay.
around has everything. Same thing with Sin Bodhi. I haven't wrestled Sin. That's in Vegas terms. I think
Yeah.
every time I see them, I'm impressed. I'm very impressed.
Hmm. No, G Sharp's been terrific and
Mhm.
reinvented himself, a
Yes, in a very good way.
new persona, and
Mhm.
Hyperstreak was still very good, very competitive, but
He's
now
very cool.
got that hard edge. And yeah,
Mhm.
how about your favorite move of all time?
My favorite move. Um,
Favorite finishing move or maneuver?
hmm. The 450 is pretty cool. Just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
Uh, I personally like the West Coast pop, but I'm gonna go with maybe 619 People's Elbow. Stunner.
Oh,
Man.
619 makes sense. You
Yeah, yeah,
talked about
yeah.
Rey Mysterio.
Um, every time I see a move, I'm thinking to myself, could I do that, or do I want to try to do that? Because I'm always
Hmm.
watching wrestling, or if I'm on social media, I'll just see little clips of people doing moves, and I'm like, man, how could I make that my own? So I think just everything is impressive to me. Like twirling in the air, doing flips, doing arm drags, everything has its own sense of coolness.
Good answer. Have
Mhm.
you thought about doing the run across the ropes, the circumference of the ring like Commander's doing?
Both me and Commander do the holding the hand, bouncing up and down on the ropes. I think I think that might be my limit for now. That might be a ceiling.
Okay.
I think
It's
I think if I
probably a good
put
call.
my mind to it, I could do the running across the ropes. I think I could. I just gotta zone everything out. I gotta be tunnel vision on that because I'm running on the ropes. Someone flashes a camera in my eye. Whoop, boom, down.
Yeah.
That's my
But
biggest fear.
it doesn't seem to be a super effective move anyway, so it's
It's a
probably
very
not a
cool
bad
move. That's
idea.
very effective.
And finally, just to wrap it up, what would your message be to fans who are planning out their Memorial Day weekend? Why should they go see the second generation Pro Wrestling Presents Go for Broke at the FSW Arena on the 28th?
Final message. Final message. Huh. I think to the wrestlers that will be traveling into Vegas to do these shows, I think you honestly just have to trust the process. Lose a buck to make a buck, because I think Vegas being the combat capital of the world, there's many opportunities. So going into Vegas for the first time, it could be. I think it might be a little tough and it's a big risk to take, but I think it's in the long run. Going to Vegas is really good. What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas.
There you go.
Yep.
Good job. Well,
Thank
hey,
you.
Bodie, thanks a lot for joining us here on LVWS Confidential. Thanks for stepping into the ring. I'm
Yep.
sure we'll be getting together again in the future. It was great to talk to you. I've been looking forward to talking to you for a while.
Thank you.
And everybody watching, you can check him out at Second Generation Pro Wrestling on Sunday, the 28th, and at Legends Rise earlier that week. So a
We got
big
Black
Memorial
too.
Day week for Bodhi.
We got
We'll
Blackjack
see you
Rumble
again
too.
here.
FSW
Yeah.
GCW.
Oh, it's gonna be all Bodhi all Memorial Day week. So that's
Yep.
awesome. Hey, thanks for you and your mom taking the time to join us here. Appreciate you guys being on. Until next week, thanks for stepping into the ring at LVWS Confidential.
Whoop, whoop.